There's a moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, when something inside you whispers, "You're not supposed to be here." Not in the job you hate, not in the relationship that exhausts you, not in the endless loop of wanting more and getting less. But you can't explain why you feel this way. On paper, everything might seem fine, but your soul knows. And that unease, that restlessness, it's not failure. It's a signal, a message from a version of you already living the life you've imagined. A life where your choices align with your purpose, where your energy is pure, where your reality reflects your highest self. That version of you isn't a fantasy. It exists. And today, we'll explore the science proving you're already connected to it, whether you realize it or not. This isn't about make-believe. It's not about wishing for something better. It's about knowing that in the quantum field, everything you desire already exists as potential. More than that, it's already tied to you. Quantum entanglement isn't just a theory for particles. It mirrors how consciousness, timelines, and identity weave together beyond space and time. And the gap between your current self and the life you want, that's not emptiness. It's a bridge. It only hurts because part of you is still stuck on the old frequency, while another strains toward the one that already knows who you're becoming. Let's be clear. This isn't about attracting your dream life. It's about realizing it's already reaching for you. But you can't meet it from an identity still vibrating with fear, lack, or doubt. You can't recognize a reality beyond the emotional loops you keep replaying. You must shift, not your surroundings, but your energy. Quantum entanglement, scientifically speaking, means two linked particles stay connected across any distance. When one changes, the other reacts instantly. No signal, no delay, just pure, immediate resonance. Now consider this. What if that same law applies to you and the version of you already living the life you desire? What if your emotions, your choices, your energy right now are entangling with your future, shifting it or aligning it, depending on what you embody today? You've been told manifestation is about asking, visualizing, waiting. But the truth is, you're not summoning anything. You're remembering, reconnecting, realigning. You're syncing with a timeline that's been waiting for you to vibrate in harmony with it. That's why it feels so hard when you're stuck. Because part of you knows you're meant to leap, but another part clings to the frequency of survival, of logic, of safety. But quantum transformation doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from resonance. What if the ache you feel isn't the absence of your dream life, but the pressure of its presence trying to align with your current self? What if the reality you're chasing is already here, and your only job is to tune yourself like an antenna, to stop transmitting fear and start broadcasting belief? This video isn't just an explanation. It's a transmission, a map, a reminder, not of something new, but of something ancient inside you, something you've always known, that you are a quantum being, that your reality is woven with infinite potentials, and that right now, in this moment, the life you crave isn't asking to be created. It's asking to be remembered, felt, claimed. So if you've been stuck between what is and what could be, stay here. Breathe deeper. Because this space between your current life and your dream life isn't empty. It's sacred, charged with possibility. And when you learn to sync with it, when your energy becomes coherent, everything begins to respond. Not because the universe finally heard you, but because you finally became the version of you who could hear it back. We live in a universe that doesn't behave the way we were taught. For centuries, we believed reality was linear, solid, measurable, something out there happening to us. But quantum physics has shattered that illusion. At its core, lies one of the most mysterious and powerful phenomena ever observed: quantum entanglement. When two particles interact in a quantum system, they become entangled, so deeply connected that their states are no longer separate. What happens to one instantly affects the other, regardless of distance, time, or any physical link. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But it's not just spooky, it's revolutionary. Why does this matter to you? Because you aren't separate from the field. You aren't isolated from the version of you living your ideal life. According to this principle, once a quantum connection exists, it transcends time and space. And if consciousness isn't local, if your awareness is part of the quantum field, as modern science suggests, then you're already linked to every potential version of you. Your dream life isn't somewhere far off in the future. It's here now, encoded in the field, waiting for your frequency to resonate with it. Let's ground this. Imagine two people on opposite sides of the world, sharing a deep, invisible bond. They think of each other at the same time. They dream the same dreams. They change when the other changes. This isn't fantasy, it's entanglement in action. Now go deeper. Picture yourself right now, and a version of you who's already leaped, already healed, already abundant, already living with purpose and clarity. If you're entangled, then shifts in your energy can instantly influence and align that timeline's frequency. That's not metaphor, that's field dynamics. The quantum field doesn't obey geography or chronology. It is a sea of possibilities, responding not to your logic, but to your state of being. If you are anxious, afraid, or doubtful, you attract realities that mirror and reinforce those energies. If you are clear, elevated, and coherent, you align with the version of reality that already matches that vibration. It's not about forcing outcomes, it's about matching frequencies. As Dr. Joe Dispenza puts it simply, the quantum field doesn't respond to what we want. It responds to who we are being. That's entanglement in plain terms. Your intention, paired with an elevated emotion, creates coherence. And coherence is what prompts the field to react. Think of it like tuning a radio. Your dream life, the one where you're aligned, fulfilled, free, is already broadcasting on a certain frequency. If you're on a different wavelength, you'll never catch the signal. But if you learn to adjust your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, and sense of self, you won't need to chase it. You become the receiver. And this is where real power lies. Entanglement isn't passive. It's not just about being connected. It's about how you shape that connection through the choices you make in each moment. Every thought you dwell on, every emotion you let take over, every version of yourself you embrace or reject, all of it sends a signal. You are the transmitter, and the field is always listening. You've been taught to think manifestation relies on repetition, scripting, or techniques. But the quantum realm operates differently. It responds to alignment. That's why some people repeat affirmations for years and see no change. Because the words don't matter if the energy behind them is out of sync. But when you truly align your inner state, the field has no choice but to reflect it back. So yes, entanglement is scientific, but it's also deeply spiritual. It tells you that your dream life isn't separate from you. You aren't waiting on luck or timing or even action in the way you were taught. You're waiting on resonance, on remembering that the gap between where you are and where you long to be is already bridged by the field. It's already connected. And once you understand this, your work is no longer to reach. It's to tune, not to attract, but to align. The implications are profound. It means nothing is truly out of reach. It means the field is always responding, even when you can't see it. And most of all, it means your identity, the one you choose to embody, moment by moment, is the key to unlocking the timeline that has always been yours. If you're already entangled with your dream life, then why hasn't it shown up yet? Why does the version of you who feels free, abundant, purposeful, still feel like a distant idea instead of your reality? The answer is both confronting and liberating. You're not yet tuned to it. The entanglement exists. It's quantum law. But tuning into it is a matter of vibration, not desire. You don't get the reality you want. You get the one that matches your field. And that field is shaped not just by what you say or want, but by the frequency you emit, consistently, emotionally, unconsciously. Most people are walking around replaying frequencies of the past. Every day they wake up and feel the same. Emotions, frustration, anxiety, lack. Not because they choose to, but because their nervous system is hooked on those states. And every time they feel them, they entangle with timelines that mirror that emotional reality. The field is neutral. It doesn't punish or reward. It reflects. If you're stuck in fear, it reflects situations that validate your fear. If you're locked in scarcity, it responds with experiences that confirm lack. This isn't punishment, it's feedback. The universe isn't ignoring you, it's mirroring you. And here's the hardest part to accept. Much of this happens beneath your conscious awareness, your subconscious mind, shaped by early experiences, trauma, societal conditioning. It's constantly projecting a reality that feels familiar, even if it's painful. And familiarity creates a magnetic pull. This is why people repeat the same relationships, the same money struggles, the same self-doubt battles, even when they're trying to change. Because their vibrational identity is still tied to who they've been, not who they're becoming. You can't tune into a higher frequency while clinging to old patterns. You can't step into a new timeline while defending the old one with your thoughts, your choices, your self-talk. You have to become a mismatch for the frequency of your old life. That means breaking the addiction to familiar emotions, disrupting the stories you keep telling yourself about who you are and what's possible. Most importantly, it means realizing that your default emotional state is the strongest force in your manifestation process. It's not your vision board. It's not how often you journal. It's not how well you meditate when things are calm. It's how you vibrate when you're triggered. It's what you choose when you feel fear, doubt, or exhaustion. Because in those moments, the universe hears your energy, not your words. And your energy is shaped by what you embody, not what you intend. So what keeps you from aligning with your dream life? It's not that you're doing something wrong. It's that you're still tied to the version of you that believes it's hard, impossible, or unsafe to change. That identity sends out a signal, and the field simply mirrors it back. You've been trying to manifest from a mindset of lack, wondering why abundance doesn't answer. You've been picturing freedom while living in resistance, and the field, neutral, always responsive, is just doing its job. But here's the good news. The moment you see this, you take back your power. You stop chasing and start rewiring. You stop begging and start aligning. And slowly, or sometimes suddenly, your reality shifts. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Because you tuned into a frequency that already held the version of you were seeking. And once you do that, the outer world must adjust. It has no choice. That's quantum law. You don't need to do more. You need to become more aligned, more present, more emotionally in sync with the reality you desire. The field doesn't respond to what you deserve. It responds to what you live. That's why some people manifest so easily. They're not working harder. They're just vibrating more clearly. So ask yourself, what emotional habits am I reinforcing that keep me stuck in unwanted realities? What beliefs am I still projecting? And am I ready to let them go? Not because they're bad, but because they no longer match the reality I choose. Because once you drop them, once you make space, something remarkable happens. The version of you waiting in the quantum field finally answers. The signs show up, the synchronicities multiply, the path reveals itself. Not because it materialized out of nowhere, but because you stepped into the frequency where it was always there. Now that you know the quantum field is already entangled with your desired reality, the question is no longer, how do I get there? The question becomes, how do I tune into it? Today? Now? As the person I already am? And the answer is simpler than most people think. Because manifestation isn't about chasing, scripting, or waiting for permission from the outside world. It's about coherence, creating internal alignment so strong that the field has no choice but to respond. The dream life isn't waiting for you to do more. It's waiting for you to become vibrationally aligned with it. And that requires a ritual. Not in a mystical sense, but in an energetic one. This ritual isn't about candles or crystals. It's about presence, precision, and persistence. And it starts with identity. Every morning, before the world pulls you into its momentum, you pause and ask yourself, who am I entangled with today? The version of me still stuck in fear and repetition, or the one already living in freedom, alignment, and clarity? That version already exists, not as an ideal, but as an active frequency. So your first task is to name it. Give it form, not fantasy, but emotional texture. How does that version feel when they wake up? What do they believe about money, love, time, possibility? What choices do they make effortlessly? Next comes embodiment. You take one small but powerful action aligned with that frequency, not to get a result, but to broadcast your coherence. You clean your space as if it's already your future self's environment. You speak to someone the way that version would, with more certainty, calm, and grace. You say no to something that feels like the past, and yes to something that reflects the future. Every small action becomes a signal to the field, proof that you're not trying to manifest something external. You're stabilizing something internal, and the universe responds. Now comes emotional encoding. You close your eyes and breathe slowly. With each breath, you visualize not what you want, but who you already are on that timeline. And more importantly, you feel it. You generate the elevated emotion, gratitude, certainty, joy. Not because it's real yet, but because it's already real somewhere, and you're choosing to sync with it now. Neuroscience shows that the brain and body begin to rewire when we combine clear intention with elevated emotion. This isn't fantasy. This is neuroplasticity and quantum entrainment in action. Do this long enough, consistently enough, and something shifts. The old identity, once dominant, starts to lose its grip. You begin to notice you no longer resonate with the conversations, patterns, or energy that once felt familiar. That's not loss. That's vibrational liberation. It means you're detaching from the version of you that blocked the signal and syncing with the one that's been transmitting it all along. So here's the invitation. Not a technique, not a trick, but a ritual of remembrance. Every morning, who am I entangled with? Every afternoon, what small action reinforces my new identity? Every evening, what frequency am I falling asleep to? Contraction or coherence? You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. Because every time you repeat this process, you strengthen the signal. And eventually, the field has no choice but to mirror it. That's not magic. That's resonant physics. And now, here's your moment of alignment. Not just to listen, but to embody. If you feel this truth in your body, If something inside you already knows this is the shift you've been waiting for, comment below. I am synced. Let the field know. Let your future self know. Let your subconscious absorb the new signal. This isn't just a comment. It's an energetic declaration, a vibrational anchor, a quiet but powerful shift into alignment. Because you're not waiting anymore. You're not hoping anymore. You are syncing. And when you do, everything shifts. Not because you forced it, but because you finally matched the version of you who no longer chases. They just transmit. And the universe answers. Most people think nothing's happening. They follow the routines. They meditate, visualize, journal, repeat affirmations, and still, their outer world appears unchanged. So they assume something's wrong, that maybe this doesn't work for them. But what they're missing is this. The field is always responding, not occasionally. Not only when you believe hard enough. Always. The challenge isn't making it work. The challenge is seeing how it's already working, moment by moment. Shift by subtle shift. Your reality, right now, is a perfect reflection of what your field has been transmitting, consistently. Not what you wished for. Not what you tried to mask with positivity, but what you've embodied over time. Your dominant thoughts, your emotional patterns, your subconscious beliefs. All of it has been woven into the possibilities that mirror them. And the proof? It's everywhere. It's in your relationships, your finances, your body, your perception of time. It's all feedback, not punishment, not reward, just resonance. The truth is, the quantum field doesn't respond to bursts of emotion. It responds to patterns of being. You can have a moment of clarity and alignment, then spend the rest of your day replaying self-doubt, fear, or control. Which signal do you think the field will lock onto? Your highest moment, or your most frequent vibration? And this is where most people get stuck, between what they want and what they keep broadcasting. But here's where the shift happens. When you stop waiting for big signs and start honoring the small ones. The gut feeling that says, don't go there today. The quiet nudge to rest instead of push harder. The inner voice that whispers, you're already enough. These aren't random. These are responses. Fragments of clarity breaking into your present, guiding you toward alignment. But if you dismiss them because they're not dramatic, not instant, not validated from the outside, you miss the opening. You postpone the shift. Understand, your dream life doesn't arrive in one grand moment. It takes shape through small, quiet permissions. The moment you speak more honestly. The moment you stop forcing and start allowing. The moment you walk away from what's familiar but out of alignment. These moments are quantum levers. Tiny choices with massive ripple effects. Because the field doesn't demand effort, it demands consistency. And when you finally learn to trust the feedback, when you stop judging reality only by what's visible and start sensing the quiet alignment underneath, you realize something profound. The field isn't far away, it's right here, it's alive, it's listening, and it responds to who you are now, not who you hope to become. So you tune in. You act from alignment, even when nothing seems different yet. You choose trust when your mind craves proof. You embody the emotional frequency of the version of you who's already arrived. And when you do that long enough, reality starts to shift. Not because you forced it, but because you matched it. The quantum field doesn't respond to what's loud. It responds to what's steady. Not the high of one meditation, but the rhythm of a congruent life. Not the excitement of a vision board, but the authenticity of your daily presence. That's what triggers the shift. That's what speeds up the merging. That's what pulls your dream life from possibility into reality. So ask yourself, am I living like the person I claim to be? Am I noticing the subtle whispers or still waiting for flashing signs? Am I broadcasting fear while saying I trust? Am I truly tuned in or just straining to force the signal? Because the truth is, you don't need to push harder. You need to tune in deeper. And when you do, when you finally align your energy, actions, and attention with the version of you that's already free, the field doesn't hesitate. It responds, it mirrors, it amplifies. Not someday, not eventually. Now there's a moment in every transformation that feels like nothing's happening. A stillness so deep it almost feels like emptiness. But it's not. It's a vibrational silence, a sacred pause where the old no longer fits and the new hasn't yet fully arrived. This is the space most people resist. And yet, it's where the quantum field does its most powerful work. Because the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop emitting fear, doubt, and desperation, that's when you become a clear signal. And clear signals collapse realities. In quantum physics, there's a concept called decoherence. It's the moment a quantum system becomes classical, observable, measurable. The moment potential takes form. It doesn't happen through force. It happens through coherence, through stability, through presence. And in the inner world, coherence is born in silence, not the absence of sound, but the absence of noise, the noise of doubt, the static of overthinking, the interference of needing to know how. When you quiet that noise, not by controlling it, but by rising above it, you enter the field with power. Not the power of control, but the power of resonance. You become a tuning fork for the version of you that already exists, the one living your dream life. You stop speaking from lack. You stop asking from fear. You stop vibrating from, I need this to change. And in that space, reality bends. Not because you screamed louder, but because you finally whispered the right frequency. This is the paradox of quantum manifestation. The less you try, the more it responds. The more you embody, the faster it mirrors. You're not attracting anything. You're not creating from nothing. You're sinking in. You're aligning. You're remembering. The life you want isn't something to be built brick by brick. It's something to be received, one vibration at a time. You don't need to figure it all out. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to become available. Available to the version of you that already knows, that already lives in peace, love, and expansion. That version isn't far. It's entangled with you. It's watching, waiting, broadcasting silently, waiting for your signal to match its own, waiting for you to trust the stillness long enough to hear it, to feel it, to become it. So take this in, slowly. Let it hum beneath your skin. The shift doesn't arrive with fanfare. It comes in quiet choices. The kind only you can sense. The kind no one applauds. The kind that whisper, I am ready. I am clear. I'm no longer resonating with what I've outgrown. If this video brought you back to that clarity, if something inside you feels quieter, stronger, more attuned, then you're already shifting. You don't need proof. You don't need approval. The field hears you. The field answers. The only thing left is to trust it. And if you want to keep aligning with this energy, if you want more content that doesn't just inform, but transforms, softly subscribe to the channel. Not just to watch more, but to settle deeper. Because here, we don't chase timelines. We embody them. And those who embody are the ones who collapse them. In the end, it's not about changing your life. It's about shifting your frequency. And when your frequency shifts, everything follows.